Hey guys, and welcome to my channel, Davina's Faith. It's Davina here, and today I'm going to give you guys an update on my move from Ohio to New Jersey. I know that some people had subscribed to my channel from that video. I had a few people contact me saying that they were encouraged by the video, or they want to get some advice because they feel like God's leading them to another city or state or even country. So if you're interested to see my update, if you're still unsure about if it's God that's telling you to move from one place to another, you just need some encouragement, then stay tuned. Okay, you guys, so yeah, I've been back here in New Jersey for about 3 years now. It's probably been about 2.5 years. I came here the very end of, was that 2018 or was that 2019? Right before I turned 28 years old, I think. Yeah, right before I turned 28, I moved here. So I was 27 the end of 2018. And then in the beginning of 2019, I turned 28. So yeah, I've been here for almost 3 years now. December will make 3 years. In the previous video, or in previous videos, I told you guys about how I was glad to come back to New Jersey. So it's not like God just told me to move to a foreign environment, like a foreign city or state. Well, yeah, this isn't foreign to me either. A whole new place I haven't ever been to, but God told me to move back to where I was from, to relocate from one place to the place that I was originally from, in a way. Like, basically, I lived in New Jersey majority of my life. I moved from New Jersey to PA to Ohio, and then God told me from Ohio that I should move back to New Jersey. And if you want to know all the details and all of that, how I knew why, all of that stuff, then go check out my video, how God told me to move back to New Jersey. And then I also have videos about the dreams that I had. It goes into detail about the dreams that I had. So I have a video title, and that video didn't get a lot of views, but it's it's actually very helpful and good. So if you guys would check that out, that would be great. Not even just for my benefit, but it will help you, especially if you're a dreamer. So that video is dreams confirming that God told me to move to New Jersey. I've been here, like I said, for almost 3 years, and I just want to give you guys an update about that. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of detail because I don't want the video to be too long, but I just want to talk about if I have any regrets about moving, if it was God. Like, now that I've been here for a long time, do I still believe that it was God and all of that stuff? Because I know some people, they may still be a little fearful of taking that leap. If they feel like God told them to do something, they want to be sure that it's God, or even if they know that it's God, they may still have a little bit of fear. So yeah, so I'm going to just answer the question before I even really dig into the video. So, do I have any regrets of my decision to leave from Ohio back in 2018, the end of 2018, to being here up until 2021? No, absolutely not. I don't have any regrets because I know that this is what God told me to do. Sometimes when people ask me oh, so you want to stay in New Jersey, or so you don't want to go back to Ohio, I'd be like, no, because I know this is where God told me to go. They kind of look at me a little stare at me, and sometimes I don't feel like explaining okay, how I know or why God told me. Well, I can't even say why, but sometimes I don't feel like going into detail about all of that stuff. But yeah, I don't forgot what I was about to say. I just knew that it was God or whatever, and I don't feel like explaining that all the time. But yeah, I knew it was from God. I don't have any regrets because I know that I moved out of obedience, and the way I know is because I just had peace and sound. It was just sound to me, and plus everything is lining up in my life. A lot of things that God showed me has come to pass. During the time of me being here in New Jersey, from that move, my life has only gotten better. I went through extreme challenges. Oh my God, there were some crazy situations that I had to experience through people, and just situations. So like, oh my God. So it just elevated me basically. Like I just grew in strength so much from this just being obedient. Like I feel so normal, but looking back from where I was and then where I am now, it was just so much growth and elevation, just within myself. So I was a little bit behind when I was in Ohio, just because of my own personal decisions. Some things happened in my life from just like how I was brought up or my circumstance, but then also my own decisions as well. So both of those put together led me to be a bit delayed or behind in life from where I should be. Not that I was super duper delayed, because I was young, still considered young. I am still considered young. I was in my late 20s, but that's still, as far as overall human beings, how long we can live, that's still considered young. But to most people, or to people that's in my age group, that might seem a little, a little older. But yeah, I was still relatively young, but there was still a lot of growth that needs to help it, that needed to happen within me. Um, yeah, and I just grew so much since I've been here. So, like I said, I've been through so many challenges since I've been here, but it was so totally worth it. Like having a miserable beginning, or yeah, the beginning of the pandemic was a bit miserable for me. I was going through it with family members, like one. I'm not even gonna name people, but yeah, just certain family members that I had to be close with during that time. It didn't necessarily start off that way, but it ended up just being miserable for me. Like, oh my God, me being so drained, me having to go back and forth, or feeling like I needed to go back and forth and argue. Not that I needed to argue, but it was just like the situation caused me to be in many arguments, just being miserable, feeling like I was stuck, all of that. And other situations with people, I'm not gonna go into detail with every trial that I've been through since I've been here, but I did go through many trials, I would say, that I had to face. Going through a little bit of depression, not extreme, but a little. It was just a lot that I faced, but I'm happy that I overcame. I grew so much, like I said. Before I came to New Jersey, I was in my mid and late 20s, without a driver's license, without even having my first car. I had the opportunity to get that, but I decided not to. And I'm not even going to say the thing that I was just about to say, because it's not even worth it. I didn't have a place on my own. I did have a place of my own before. When I was about 24, I shared an apartment with my two brothers. But yeah, I was staying at home with my mom during that time. Um, I did not have a business of my own. I was just like not motivated enough. I made sure I stayed with money. I made sure I kept a job. It was little spouts where I got lazy in Ohio too, because I was so comfortable. But once I got here to New Jersey, I just got like a bit uncomfortable. So it started off being comfortable, but then there was different things that made me uncomfortable. And being uncomfortable is great in a way. You may feel like, oh my God, I feel so uncomfortable here, but that uncomfortability is going to help push you into your next dimension, to your next season, to where you need to be. So that's what it did for me. So I was uncomfortable in certain situations. If I could be quite honest, living at my grandma's house made me uncomfortable many of times, because it wasn't my own. I couldn't do just anything that I wanted to do, and I never had a problem with that. I'm a pretty respectful person, but it was some things that I felt was like unnecessary that happened, or that was said and stuff like that. But I had to go through it. Like, okay, you can't do this. This is like this. It just made me so uncomfortable. And then just being my age and not having my own, that made me uncomfortable. But since I felt that pressure, I felt that uncomfortability, it pushed me to get to where I am now, to have increase. I'm not saying that I got it all together and I'm just like this bomb girl, whatever. I'm happy where I am at, but it pushed me to where I should be. So I'm now very satisfied with my life. I do desire more, and I know there is more for me. But like I said, I know I'm not perfect. I mean, no one will ever be perfect, but as far as society standards, I know I'm not super perfect for, I just know. since coming here, I finally got that driver's license after years of pushing that off, like pushing it off. And you can watch my why did I wait until 28 to get my driver's license. I have that video. I got my first car. I bought my first car with cash. It was an older vehicle, but it was pretty decent. I had that for a small amount of time because it got into a car accident. I wasn't at fault. Someone had hit me from behind, so I ended up letting them take that away because it was considered totaled. So I just got a whole new vehicle, which is my vehicle that I have now. It actually does need some exterior work to it, like, yeah, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, it's still very beautiful though. So I have gained two cars since being down here in New Jersey. The first one I bought with cash. The one that I have now, I financed it because it is a new vehicle, 2017. I acquired my own salon business, so I have an actual salon. Before, I was just, of course, I worked at salons prior. Here in New Jersey and in Ohio, I worked at one salon, but I have worked out the house many of times. So towards the end of me being in Ohio, I worked out of the house. So whenever, because I didn't have a lot of clients towards the end, so I had like 3 or 4 faithful clients that would come to me like every week or two, and they would come to my house. I would go to about 2 of their houses, but majority of them would come to my house or whatever. Then when I moved to New Jersey, I found me a job, just some temp job that was low paying, and then I got another job that was better paying. And while I was doing that, I was also doing hair at home. So at home was my grandmother's house, so I was doing before I would go to work, because I worked in the afternoon, I will book early appointments. So 8 and 9 a.m. I would book appointments for clients, and I would do their hair before I went to work. And then, of course, on my days off, I could do it. So I had just knotless braids. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's a very popular type of braid. I actually have them in now. These are very old now, and they're coming out. But yeah, I had gained notoriety in the knotless braids. I'm not saying that was the most popular person, but that when I had started doing knotless braids, that had captured a lot of people's attention, and I gained clients from doing knotless braids. So I was doing them right before I went to work, and then on my days off. So boom, I was working so much. I was working doing hair, and then I was working my 9 to 5 job. And then after a while, I didn't get elevated in that job like I was supposed to. So I took a leap of faith after the Pinky Promise conference that I attended in what's that, 2020, 2019, I think. Pinky Promise 2019, the girls trip, that's the one I went to. I met some great phenomenal woman there around my age and even a little bit older. And after that trip, I had decided to just quit that job. So I quit that 9 to 5 job that I was working, and then I had went to a salon. So a salon had contacted me probably a month or so prior to me making that decision, asking me if I wanted to come work for them. I was sketchy about it because I had said in my mind that I do not want to work for another person. I do not want to work at another salon. That's what I said. But I went with it because I was like, okay, I want to leave this job. I'm going to leave it. And then I was like, you know what? I could just work there. So I worked there. Everything was cool. The salon was beautiful. It was a beautiful salon. I did really like working there. But then I had hit some bumps in the road. I noticed some things that I really didn't like, and that I felt like I didn't want to tolerate, or that I didn't need to tolerate. So I ended up leaving there after probably like 6 months. I left. I already had a vehicle and everything. I left, took my stuff, left. And I just started traveling to all my clients' homes. And oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this because I did not want this video to be long. But I ended up leaving and traveling to all my clients' homes. So instead of letting all my clients come to, and this was before the pandemic, this was towards the end of 2019. I was traveling to all my clients' homes, unless they just didn't want anybody in their home. Then I would invite them over to my grandmother's house. So yeah, boom, used my car for that, traveling, doing that, and also doing delivery services, DoorDash. I also tried some other. DoorDash is not my main source of income, but my main delivery service I like to do. But I would also do other ones that I no longer do. I would do DoorDash, like I said. I would do Instacart, Shipt, SHIPT. What else did I do? I did almost everyone, and I did Postmates. I tried to do Grubhub, but they weren't taking any more applicants during that time. So I did many. I was doing 4 different delivery. I ended up towards the end of me doing deliveries. I ended up doing about 4 delivery services at once. So sometimes I would have both apps open, doing both. So once it was going slow with DoorDash, while I'm still doing deliveries, I'll click open the app for Instacart, and I'll be doing Instacart and DoorDash at the same time. Sometimes they did intervene and I was late for some deliveries, but it helped me to make a lot of like at least decent money or whatever. So yeah, that was my source of income during that time. Towards what time was that? 2019 to 2020, before the pandemic, or up into the beginning of the pandemic. So I was doing both of those. So a lot of people didn't agree with me with doing that. They were like, Davina, you have a decent education, you went to college, why don't you just use your degree, which is just an associate's? Why don't you just use that, or why don't you just go to somebody else's salon? Oh, and then I did end up going back to another salon. I only worked there for 2 days. I just wasn't feeling the vibe there. I just felt a little bit out of place, so I ended up not going back. I should have said, hey, I just feel like I don't want to work there anymore, but I did just kind of ghost them a little bit. They never called me though, but I just never contacted them again. I didn't take anything from them. I already had got my pay, so it was nothing wrong. But I just wish if I could do it over, I would voice how I felt and then left. But I did just leave on my own after that. After the day was over, I left and just never came back. I forgot all about that. So yeah, I was still, and that was way before the pandemic when I left from that place. So from mid to late 2019 up until when the pandemic got really bad, in my area, New Jersey, the New York, New Jersey area, I was doing DoorDash and doing hair. So I was doing that. Then once the pandemic hit really badly, I stopped going outside. So I stopped doing everything. Like, I just felt in my spirit that I should do that. So I had, I'm not saying that God told me, but that's how I felt in my spirit. So it could have just been my flesh and, being a little bit fearful, but I just listened to that and I didn't do anything. So I had a few days after that, I had stopped doing deliveries, and I wasn't taking any more appointments. I just stayed home. I did that. My grandmother didn't agree with that at first. She was kind of upset a little, I felt. And I just stick with it. Like, you know what? She started asking me, like, when you gonna go back to work? And I was like, I don't feel like I'm gonna go back to work. I'm just gonna apply for unemployment. So I did that. So that money came in, and then, you're collecting, the stimulus check starts to come in and stuff. So I did not spend any of that money that was coming out. Any money that I acquired, I did not spend it. And I didn't go blabbing my mouth about it. Now, I still pay any bills that I had to pay for home and stuff like that, but I wasn't flashing my money and I wasn't spending it all. So all that money that I had, and it was miserable being there. Like, I could not wait to leave. And I ended up not leaving, but I felt like, oh my God, I want to leave so bad because it was just so much chaos going on during that time. But, my mom, she encouraged me, like, you know what, you don't have to be in there all the time, going through that. And I'm not saying anything bad about anybody, but I did go through some chaos. And when I say that, I'm not talking about my grandmother. I'm just saying inside the house. And after a while, I started going out, taking walks here and there. Before, I wasn't taking a walk. I would just get up, bathe, eat, watch videos and TV, and go to sleep and do it all over again. And then go out with my grandmother, gloves and mask on, going grocery shopping. But it was just a whole different feel. It's not how it is right now. It's a little bit better. I was in the house consistently for months, but then I had just started to like go back out. So during this time, I was sent a wig from Aaron 21, and I have a hair channel, if you guys don't know. So they had sent me a wig. I was kind of nervous because I'm like, oh my God, what if it'll have cold? Are we supposed to say that what if it has that inside the wig or whatever? Not that they would purposely do it, but I was kind of worried. But I still accepted the wig. I washed it. I did a few videos on it, so that kept me busy too. It kept me encouraged during that time, having that wig. So I did the review for the wig. I showed me putting it on. I colored the wig. I also read my word a lot during this time. When I did start going outside, I started doing my dream interpretation videos outside. So my dream symbol videos, I had started doing those outside. So if you guys look back during the summertime or spring and you see me outside doing the video, that was what I'm talking about. That was during that time. And yeah, so I would do those videos. It had just encouraged me to start doing videos again because I had stopped because I didn't have any privacy. I never really did videos at my grandmother's house, to be honest. Well, yes, I did, but I didn't have any privacy during that time, so I would just do it sporadic. Oh, I would be in my car doing my videos, but during that time, towards, I can't even remember, but somewhere along the pandemic, that's when I had gotten to the accident when somebody hit me. Then I didn't have a vehicle to do my videos anymore. So when I still had the vehicle, I did go to my car to do the videos. Before then, I was doing all my videos inside the car because that's the only privacy I had. I didn't have privacy really at my grandmother's house, and I didn't feel comfortable doing videos in front of her or just at her house, period. I am that type of person. Like, I feel awkward and weird doing videos in front of people. So yeah, I would use my car. Since I didn't have my car anymore, it was hard for me to do videos, so I had stopped. But yeah, once I had received that wig, it had encouraged me to start doing videos. Okay, so I started doing videos again here and there whenever I felt like going outside and I had a little bit of privacy. Then one time when I was visiting my church, they were giving out veggies and stuff like that, veggies and fruit. Me and my grandmother, we went together, and then you know, one of the members, they were like, they were just saying, like, basically, don't stop making your money, whatever, like, do your clients. So that actually triggered something in my mind, like, okay, you know what, I can't go back to working. So I had started to book appointments again with my, like, book appointments for my clients. So a few of them did start to reach back to me. With the ones that had been started asking about appointments, I told them, like, no, I'm not gonna be taking any appointments right now. But then I had reached back to them saying, hey, I'm taking appointments again. And then the ones that had started to reach out to me by themselves, I told them, yeah, I'm taking appointments. And I just laid out rules, like, we have to keep our mask on. I'm going to bring Lysol wipes and stuff like that. So yeah, I was taking the precautions that I could take to stay safe. So I did that, and I started working again. I had just started working by foot again. So basically, just traveling to my clients' houses again. At first, I did still have my vehicle, and then I lost it. So then after that, I had started going on the bus to my clients. Then eventually, long story short, I didn't even want this video to be long. I just started having a lot of prophetic dreams. God speaking to me about my life and stuff like that. And I had one dream. It was just like a vision, and it was a vision of a salon. So it was like this narrow place, like a space that was like narrow, and it had different salon equipment. So I saw a dryer, and I saw different like hair tools. I can't remember all the hair tools, but it was just straight to the point, and it was quick. It only lasted for a few seconds. So it was a vision. And I saw my grandmother that I stayed with. I saw her at the end, and she was smiling. So yeah, I just knew, like, okay, that means I'm gonna get a salon. So since I saw that, I'm like, okay, let me start looking for salons. I had already started looking for a salon suite, I believe, before that dream. I think I did that before I had that dream. So I had started looking. No. Actually, I didn't. I can't remember which one I did first, but I had started looking for spaces. And I'm not going to share the whole story because I did share that story. I'll link it somewhere. I ended up finding this place, and I knew once I got here that it was it. And I just knew. So I was happy. Once it got time for me to start signing the lease and getting the money to them, I did start getting really nervous. Like, okay, they're kind of being like this. Not being unfair, but like, okay, he seemed a little bit eager. And then that was all, like, I had the money that I was giving them was almost all the money that I had to my name, to be honest. Um, so with that, and then having to buy all the things, that was like almost all the money. So I had the money, I had a certain amount of money, and it was just like enough for it to have to sign the lease, and you have to pay a certain amount of months rent plus a security deposit to be here, and then have the equipment. So it was like, I only saved money up for a couple of months, and it was just enough. So I was like, okay, I'm nervous. What if this happens the day of me about to sign my lease, like going to get to get the cashier's check and stuff. Like, what if this happens? What if I, not if I fail, but like, what if this is sketchy? And I just started being fearful, like, oh my God, Lord, should I still do this because this is happening at the bank or whatever? Like, I was kind of confused a little bit, but it went well, and I knew it was from God. So sometimes when there is something from God, you can be a little bit fearful because of certain circumstances, or because you never done this before, or because it seems like, oh my, how can this, how can this be, or how can it happen this quick? Um, but sometimes you just have to check that fear. Sometimes it's just fear. And just because you have fear doesn't mean that's from God. And just because you have something that's from God, or God shows you something, doesn't mean that you won't have any fear. So despite having that little bit of fear, I still followed through. At the first time, it didn't work. But I believe that was God delaying it, so I could, delaying it for a reason. Like, it was delayed for like a week, and it still worked out. So yeah, then the day that I actually went through, I was still kind of nervous, but I was just so excited once I signed my lease, and it was just great. Now I did, of course, have some little bumps in the road, like finding out things about this place. Like, okay, hot water isn't already here. You have to have separate hot water, or you have to get this toilet fixed. I did have to do that, but it is helping me for things. Like, when I become a homeowner, I'm going to know how to maneuver and how to do things. Like, okay, I'm going to be responsible for these things, and what to do if something isn't working properly. So it's all for a reason. So I'm so happy that I made my decision, that I made the decision to be obedient, because it just improved my life so much, so much. I'm so grateful for where I am now, and I'm grateful for where God's going to take me, and all the things that's going to come forth. Everything that's going to turn beautiful. I'm even thankful for the trials that I've been through, and that I still have to overcome some things.